Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Northampton Township Board of Supervisors meeting. It's Wednesday, November 19th, 2025. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll start with a Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. As we get the meeting started, I just want to remind everybody from the public, there's two opportunities for public comment. The first opportunity will be for agenda items only. And if you'd like to speak on any of the agenda items, please sign up at the back. And the second opportunity will be at the end of the meeting for whatever's on your mind. And if you'd like to speak in open public comment, please do that at the end of the meeting. And in either case, I'll call your name and recognize you to come to the microphone. Before we get started, I just want to say congratulations to Barry Moore for his re-election to the board, and Joe Lombardo, who's sitting out in the audience, for his election to the board. So best of luck to both of you. Good luck, and you got 6 more years ahead of you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's start with consent items. We'll go to the approval of the minutes. Paula?
Okay, Mr. Chairman, if I may, if there are no objections, I request that the minutes of October 22nd and also November 13 workshop be approved by unanimous consent.
Any questions on the minutes? No. Go accounts payable. Kim?
Yes, I have the bills list for November 12th, 2025. Total off funds, $2,395,545.05.
Any questions? If not, I'll accept a motion to approve the consent items as presented.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second. Any discussion? All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. We'll go right into new business. We have no unfinished business. We'll start with authorization to advertise an ordinance for firefighters' pension. Barry?
Sure, thanks, Adam. So this is actually a very good opportunity that was presented to us by our pension advisor. Currently, we get a matching fund or assistance from the state to help with the defined contribution plan we have for the fire department. So it's a defined contribution plan, and we get a matching, and the matching is currently $6,665 per person. But we're only getting a single matching because the pension fund is associated with all the non-uniform people too. What the state has done for police and for fire, if you have a separate pension fund, then they're willing to give a double match, if you will. So instead of getting $6,665, you can get twice that amount. We're close to over 14,000, close to 14,000. What we need to do here is we need to have a separate pension fund set up for the fire department for all the employees there. And once again, it's a defined contribution plan. And once we do that, after a time period of 3 years, then we'll get the matching of, in essence, twice the normal amount. So it's a win-win for a whole bunch of things. And this is money that is collected by the state pertaining to a 2% tax they have on casualty life insurance. So it's a good way of getting the money back. So if I could make a motion, Adam?
Please.
Sure. I move to authorize the advertisement of ordinance creating a separate fire pension fund as required by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to qualify the essential public safety worker level state aid program to support municipal pension plan funding.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion, Barry?
Yeah, the only thing I'll add is that the dollar savings to the township, once it gets fully implemented after 3 years, is just about $250,000 a year. So it's a win-win for everybody.
Paula, any other comment? Kim? Bob?
It's free money. This makes perfect sense.
None for me. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Barry. Next up, Paula, a cost of living adjustment for the pension recipients.
Okay, the pension plan advisory committees are recommending that the Board of Supervisors authorize a cost of living adjustment for the retirees in accordance with Section 6.2 of the non-uniformed employees pension plan and Section 6.7 of the police pension plan. For funding purposes, the minimum municipal obligation calculation already assumes a 2% annual COLA increase, cost of living increase. As a result, offering a one-time COLA increase retro to January 1st, 2025, it will have a minimal impact to the minimum municipal obligation, as 2% of the total cost is already factored in. Okay, the police pension will incur an MMO increase of $15,000, and the non-uniform plan, $8,300 per year. Okay, the following motion is appropriate if you agree with this Pension Plan Advisory Committee's recommendation, and it's to grant 3% cost of living increase effective retroactively to January 1st, 2025 for pension plan participants. And if I may, Mr. Chairman, can I
Please,
make a
Paul.
motion? I move to approve a cost of living adjustment as determined by the township actuary in the amount of 3.0% effective retroactively to January 1, 2025 for retirees in the police and non-uniformed pension plans.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any other comment, Paula?
No, I think it's a decent rate.
Kim?
I think it was time.
Bob?
It's the right thing to do. We're still suffering with the 4 years of runaway inflation that we dealt with, and so we have no choice.
Barry?
No, I think it's a smart move. I'm on the pension committee meeting, and we meet every quarter. And Julie, actually, who's in the audience, does a great job putting everything together. And this is always an ask from both the police and non-uniform people. So the fact that we're able to do this is very good. So,
All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Next up is our preliminary budget, and Bob, I'll let you introduce, or you just going to go right to Bob?
We'll just turn it over to Ms.
All right.
Pellegrino.
We'll just reorganize the room for a second. So we'll have Bob Pellegrino, our township manager, and Bill Wirt, our assistant manager, presenting this evening. And also in the room is our finance director, Julie, in the back. You can see
He
her.
does all the work, really.
Yeah, who really does the work, that's right.
Tonight, we're going to present the preliminary 2026 budget. Doing something a little different this year. I'm going to do part of the presentation, and then Mr. Wirt is going to do another part of the presentation, and then he will hand it back over to me at the end to do a final summary. So, this button right. All right, here's what we're going to talk about tonight. I'm going to give you a broad overview of the budget. We're going to hit some fiscal highlights, just a few things that are maybe important to point out. I'm going to talk a little bit about public safety and community services, infrastructure and public works. Bill is going to discuss capital project and grants, and I will wrap it up with a brief financial summary. So our total proposed budget next year is $66.3 million. $44 million is for operations. $13.8 million is for our proprietary funds. Those are our refuse fund, the costs for trash collection, recycling, and waste disposal. We have $5.4 million proposed in capital spending. You'll hear Bill talk about some of that, and a lot of that is grant funded. And then we have $3 million in pension costs. The chart shows that police are clearly the biggest part of our budget, a little over 21%. Fire's about 13%, sorry. And public works about 14%. And it goes down from there. This is a comparison of the changes from 2025 to 2026. Overall, our budget is increasing 0.16%. These are expenses. The numbers you see there are shown, they're in thousands of dollars. So they're in millions, but you have to add 3 zeros. So our general fund actually has a 2% reduction in expenses, largely due to the reduction in the transfers that we made this year to fund fire services. You see fire protection is up 8%. That's a result of having a new department and having new employees who are working their way through a pay scale that is a pay scale that's spread out over 5 years, where there are increases each year, very similar, actually identical to how we do our police contract. Refuse up about 3%, a library up about 4.5%, recreation up about 2%, and the country clubs up about 2.75%. For perspective, because they're included in the general fund, our police costs are up at about 10.25% from this year to next year. So a couple just highlights. EIT revenue, earned income tax revenue, continues to be strong. We're projecting 3% for next year's increase. We've had varying levels of increase over the years. A few years in the last 15, we saw a drop, but those were during the bad economic times facing the entire country. Really a bright spot here is that our pension funds are 95% funded. That is a very high funding level. We've had a drop in property and liability and workers' compensation. To dig into the weeds a little bit more, workers' compensation costs, even though our salaries have increased and those premiums are based on wages, our rates have been lower, so that the actual cost of comp is up only very slightly. The 4% reduction is really due to our property and liability costs. Those are down significantly. The property and liability market went from hard to soft, meaning insurance carriers, especially reinsurance carriers, are significantly lowering their rates because there's just a lot of competition. Medical costs are up in total about 6.8%. That's not our rate increase. Our rate increase is around 3%, but we have changes in employee classifications, folks getting married, having children, so they go from single to couple to family coverage. Those change from year to year, but our overall cost is up about 6.8%. Our engineering this year up about 21%, mostly due to the grant-funded projects. And you'll hear later on Bill discuss some of these projects. Right now we have 15 active capital projects in the works in various stages of engineering design, bidding, and/or construction. Wages and benefits comprise 52% of our budget. Operating costs, which include all of our supplies and, let's see, the roads are about 20% of the total budget. About 8% is spent on capital improvements. Our police services are second to none. I don't have to tell you that. We have 47 sworn officers, about 12 civilian staff that work in the department. They respond to around 20,000 calls a year. They might be the smallest or the most significant calls, but that's a lot of calls. This year, because we are now finally fully staffed for the first time in 5 years, we are able to implement a minimum 5 officer per shift. Up until this point, we have had 4 officers on a shift. More are scheduled. However, with time off, illnesses, we can go as low as 5. Typically, there are more, but that is now the new minimum number of officers we will have on any one shift. The chief reported crime is down about 5%. I can't tell you why, but that's just a fact, and the numbers bear that out. Our officers issued this past year, year to date, 5,800 plus warnings and citations. I can tell you about 2,000 of those were citations and the rest were warnings. They've investigated more than 700 crashes, vehicle crashes. And we have trained officers who are do all those crash investigations and reconstructions. You know, we have an active drone program. We have a canine program. Everyone loves the dogs. And we have a school resource officer program. Right now, we have added a school resource officer at the Holland Middle School. We've had one at the high school for a very long time. A little bit about our fire and EMS services. You know, we have 2 staffed fire stations and a staffed dedicated EMS facility in the township. It is 24/7 service. Fire departments has responded to 1,500 plus calls. I believe that is year to date. EMS, our Trihampton Rescue Squad, has responded to more than 3,500 calls, medical calls. And the best part of all of this is that we average a 5-minute response time. And that was the purpose of going 24/7 for our fire department. EMS has always been full-time. Just a little bit about EMS. We are focusing on the sustainability of the current emergency medical services model. There are a number of squads that have gone out of business. This is a crisis in the state. It's not something we're overly concerned about now, but we are closely monitoring this, and we will be prepared in the event that Trihampton faces a financial problem. To that end, this year we hired a deputy EMS chief. His responsibility is to guide us through potential transitions in the future and to give us a better handle on managing our current EMS service. You know, this past year, I think 2 years ago, we added peak hour ambulance coverage in Holland. That did result in a reduction in response time of 30%. So we are getting to places and to people who need our service much more quickly. A couple of quick highlights about some of our community services. Parks and Recreation has seen a 22% increase in its revenue. They are doing an unbelievable job in programming and engaging the community to participate in the various services that they offer, such that we've seen a 15% increase in participation. Our senior center membership is up 18%, and its daily attendance is up 28%. And if you recall, last year we moved the senior center under the into the Parks and Recreation Department. They are actively programming that facility, and we are using it in a much more efficient way. Our library circulation is also up about 7.2%, 252,000 items out of the library circulation. in a year, and 142,000 visitors on average to our library facility. Also proud to say that we have 3,100 plus hours of volunteers, and there are still people who want to volunteer in our library, and we very much appreciate the work that they do. Our country club continues to be a place for gathering, 52,000 rounds of golf. That is a very heavy load on our course, but I can tell you our course superintendent is in a league of his own, and that facility and that golf course is in amazing condition. I hear it all the time from golfers. I hear it from people who don't live in the community who come there to golf. It is a very popular place. And we still have a strong food and beverage operation at the Tavern on 10. One area that we hope to improve on is our banquet facilities operations. Banquets have been down the last couple of years. Bill is going to talk about the improvements that we've made to turn that operation around and generate additional income. On infrastructure and public works, you know you've heard me say this before. Our 30-member Public Works Department maintains 183 miles of township-owned roads. We have 97 miles of storm sewer system. That includes 125 detention basins. A lot of those basins we mow, about 85 of them. Some have gone naturalized, and we just mow the tops of those, but we take care of a lot of physical plant. We have 343 acres of undeveloped open spaces. A lot of those are properties that we've acquired through land development where we have a dedicated open space requirement, and the township acquires those parcels, and they're all over the place. Some of them we do maintain, and some are left to naturalize. That department, with its Parks Division, also maintains the 257 acres of parks that this township owns and maintains. Very busy department. It's amazing to me that they are able to take care of everything that they do with that few number of employees. One of the other things through the Public Works Department is their Facilities Division. We have 5 people in that division. They maintain 18 facilities. I didn't realize this until I was told this year. We have 100 HVAC units on all of our buildings. That number stunned me. This year, like last year, we will be maintaining, improving 10 miles of our road system. This board provided additional resources about 4 or 5 years ago to enable us to do that. And that has made a significant improvement in our transportation system in this community. This year and last year and going into next year, we have spent some time and money updating our administration building here. This room is the latest example of the improvements that we've made. This room hasn't been touched in 35 years, so this is the first improvement that's been done. There is one other office that is yet to be improved, and that will happen in 2026. I want to talk a little bit about capital equipment loans on this slide. For a number of years, the board has authorized the administration to short-term borrow for equipment, be it police cars, public works vehicles, mowers, all of the equipment that is used by Public Works in our various departments, parks equipment for maintaining our infrastructure and our facilities and our properties. This is the 3rd year in this proposed budget. We are not borrowing short-term. We've put a hold. I guess the administration, me, has said that interest rates are too high. We are going to wait until they come down before I would ask you to approve any additional short-term loans. So what we have been doing is using cash and only buying equipment that's absolutely necessary, such as replacement police vehicles. That fleet needs a certain number of vehicles every year to maintain it in good condition. We've deferred some capital equipment, tried to stretch out the life of the equipment that we have. Most recently, we stopped funding the acquisition of fire equipment. Our fire company had a very well laid out replacement schedule. We still have about $1.7 million in that account. Our philosophy now is, rather than use that money and pay cash for a fire truck, as an example, we would get very low interest loans. We can get them from the state, and we would use those funds to pay for a vehicle over maybe a 7-year period. Fire trucks have a longer life than that, but it will stretch our tax dollars and our funds out over a longer period of time. We did that most recently with the last truck we purchased. We borrowed $800,000 against what we have, and using the money that we have as collateral, we have a 2% loan. We'll be paying that vehicle off in 2031. So I just wanted to touch on that. We are paying down about $500,000 of our short-term borrowing. This year, we have $1 million remaining that we owe. In the next 2 years, at the end of next year, we will have, in 2027, no loans payable for short-term capital equipment. This is where I turn the presentation over to Mr. Wirt, who's going to tell you all about our various capital projects.
Good evening. Starting with our capital projects, you've seen this before. We've been very successful at obtaining state-funded grants. Over the course of the last 10 years, there's been $43 million in state grants awarded to the township. A lot of this has been on the back of initial investments by this board and previous boards on providing seed money, if you will, for engineering concept plans up front for various projects. And that is then turned into a grant application, and those funds, that commitment shown by the township allows for a greater success rate in our grant applications. Over the course of these 10 years, the last decade or so, our initial investment of $6.2 million has brought back $43 million in grants for all the projects that we've done in the past, as well as past few years, as well as what's coming up ahead that I will touch on. Projects that we completed this year, I want to highlight Ironworks Creek Bridge was a $1.4 million grant from the state. That initial seed money I referenced a minute ago was $190,000. So that's a great return on our investment. That ended up with a project that has provided very safe pedestrian access on both sides of the bridge coming in from Southampton on 2nd Street Pike. It looks like it looks wonderful. It looks like a beautiful bridge, and already people are using it and commenting about how much better it is to enter the borough, Richboro, from that portion of the township. Another project this year that we did in-house without grant funds this year, but it was a curb extension at Ivy Green, the entrance of Ivy Green neighborhood on Jacksonville Road. This was an issue of addressing dangerous conditions as the light backs up at Bristol and Jacksonville, people were flying up on his shoulder to avoid the backup of people going straight or turning left. So working with the engineers, we designed this curb extension project that you can see on the right side there that prevents people from flying up until they can get up into the queue into that right-hand lane to turn onto Bristol Road. That has significantly increased the safety for those residents getting in and out of that community. Another project that's been very visible this year, we completed the major improvement project at Municipal Park. There was existing basketball courts that were there that had seen its end of life. There was a lot of cracks and situations that were creating trip hazards for players and users. So we took the opportunity to recreate this surface. And part of a technology called Placer AI, we were able to analyze the usage over the last number of years that indicated that the basketball usage was declining as a sport. Unknown how much of it was truly related to the condition of the courts, admittedly. However, there was the numbers bore out that there were absolutely a decrease in basketball uses. So we took the opportunity to piggyback on pickleball, if you will, and we converted 2 of the basketball courts to 6 pickleball courts, as you can see in this picture. Using that same technology, we were able to do a year-to-year comparison that when we opened up the courts in June of this year, there was over 8,000 additional users that started using this facility, which is essentially a 56% increase over the course, same period last year. They're always used, and it's been a tremendous asset back into this community. And it is also first dedicated pickleball courts in the township. Bob had mentioned earlier about the country club. This is a picture taken last week of the near completed ceremonial gardens at the country club. This is one of the areas, there's 2 gardens that were created off of each room, and utilizing the grand staircase down off of the existing patios off of both the Crystal and the Northampton rooms. These grand staircases come down and enter down. Picture the bride now walking down the center aisle there towards the fountains. Both ceremony gardens highlight the backdrop of the fountain and the pond in the distant there. The grass areas you see will be where the chairs are, where the audience attendees can sit. This is a major pivot for weddings at the country club because the modern bride, if you will, most people aren't getting married in churches anymore. And they're looking for all-in-one venues where you can have the ceremony, cocktail and the reception all in this same facility. So we anticipate this investment that will significantly increase the weddings coming to Northampton Valley Country Club. We know that there's nothing like this in the immediate region in any of our areas, so we're looking forward to the feedback from it. Minor, some carryover into next spring. There's some landscaping that can't be planted this time of year, so that will be continuing, as well as there's a wall that separates the 2 areas that is being completed now. The other intention of this is that we could now have 2 ceremonies occurring at the same time or within very close proximity to each other, because previous outdoor weddings there had to wait for one to be done in order for noise travel and that sort of thing. So this should allow for an increase in weddings as well at the event, at the country club. Other projects we completed this year, we invested in pedestrian crosswalk improvements. We focused on areas near schools in the township. These are some pictures of intersections that at Middle Holland and Old Jordan, Middle Holland and Liberty, East Holland and Grant, and Holland and Grant. These pedestrian improvements, including the crosswalks and the ADA ramps, again, part of our overall plan to improve the pedestrian experience in Northampton Township. You've heard us talk before. There will be a new traffic signal at St. Leonard's Road and Newtown Richboro Road. This is a much-needed traffic signal for safety concerns. High accident rates occur out there, as well as the traffic on the hill coming from Newtown have caused some dangerous situations. This is another example of a minimal investment in the township gaining grant funds back to us. The initial investment for this project was $76,000, and we secured a $500,000 grant to install this. So we're really stretching township dollars to make this happen. This Richboro sidewalk on the right side there, if you can see the pink lines, those are phase 2 sections that'll be addressed. We have secured a $1 million grant to make this happen. We've secured all the easements, and that is a project that will be coming through next year. Again, the initial idea was to improve pedestrian access through the area, as well as extend it out to the neighborhoods outside the borough. So we have extensions going out to the neighborhoods, as well on 2nd Street Pike and up Tanyard, as well as up, not Tanyard, excuse me, Temperance, thank you. We are doing a small section down on Tanyard as well this year, but in connecting up to the commercial property up on Alms House Road where Terraminas is. So this is a project that will be coming forth next year. Phase 3 will be the areas highlighted in the blue. That's going to be an extensive project because that has a significant culvert/bridge that needs to be addressed. So that will be pending grant funds in following years. Other 2026 project includes the pedestrian crosswalk at Fur Drive and Newtown Richboro Road. This green line on the left here will be installed a pedestrian activated flasher control device with overhead flashers, as well as a protected refuge island, not refuse, sorry, that will allow pedestrians to safely get across that wide roadway. There will also be a short section of sidewalk trail down to connect to the existing Newtown, the trail in Tyler Park, which is the entrance that goes back to the Art Guild. That'll be, some work will be, you'll see some work being completed in the near future with that, as we're trying to get some concrete work and road work done in advance of the PICO project completing their gas line extensions that we've seen the last few months. We want to get all the road work and curb work and concrete work done in the road before they come back to pave. Then subsequent to that will be the installation of the flashers and the poles needed for that. So that'll be a little bit of a phase within this first year. You've also heard us talk for a number of years, the Jacksonville Alms House Road roundabout. This initial investment of $30,000, along with the help of our friends at the Bucks County Planning Commission, successfully got this project added to the Pennsylvania Department of Transportation Improvement Plan, which means they pick up all the costs from here on out. This project is a multi-year project to improve the congestion at Jacksonville and Alms House. And we anticipate that the project will be advertised for bidding late next spring, with sometime in July the project will be let out. The initial construction will include, for next year will be utility relocations, and then subsequent years in 27 and into 28 will be the construction of the actual roadway. So it will be a 3-year program. One of the things I'd want to highlight with this, in working with the police department, the quality of life unit, we have anticipating the detours that'll be associated with this major corridor in the township. We will have, we've looked at other intersections and roadways for improvements that can be made now, such as line painting, better crosswalk identifications, and there will be PennDOT has, at our request, agreed to put in a temporary traffic signal that you may have seen in other locations, not in the township before, but in other locations, maybe on bridge constructions, where they put up a temporary traffic signal on trailers at Polinsky and Happero Road. So we anticipate that being a major congestion point, particularly for the local residents that know the roads around. The official detour plan is going down Happero, out to Bristol, and then back into Jackson and Mearns. So that's the official state detour, but we know, people are like water, and especially if you live here, you know the roads, you'll find your way, at least resistance. So those are two projects that will get started again next year. Moving on to 2027 and beyond, we are looking at another grant that we received from the Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission, which is the blue line on this screen. It'll connect to the improvements, the pedestrian crosswalk improvements associated with the traffic signal. Utilizing the old road bed of Newtown Richboro Road, there'll be a trail that'll go down the hill and wrap around behind the Langhorne Players facility and connect to an existing trail under the bridge. This is a $1.2 million project with $825,000 coming back from this Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission to complete this project. They will be completing design in 26 with construction in 27. I will highlight the yellow area as well, going the other direction towards Rock Way, just off the top of the screen. This is another project that is we've been working on, but is pending grant funding at this point. We have secured all the easements necessary with the community on this bottom left-hand corner of that page, as well as we're looking at the replacing some of the existing trail sidewalk that goes up to Rockway that right now is in pretty poor condition. So as part of this project, we'll be looking to have a new trail pending grant funding all from the St. Leonard's Road all the way up to Rockway, and then be able to connect the high school from there with the existing sidewalks. Again, moving into 27, 28 projects that are still in the pipeline, but with grant funding. We have two basins, one we completed this year at Northampton Crossing and neighborhood, excuse me, and one that is in design right now for the basin in Tanner Estates on Happero Road. Both of these projects were fully funded by grants, both engineering and construction, so it's zero cost to the township. The Tanner Estates one might not sound familiar to everyone, but I'm sure everyone has recognized the picture on the right of the flooding that occurs on Almshouse Road coming off just past the Solly Farm stand. It has been identified that the basin in Tanner Estates is the headwaters for this water course that comes through the Solly Farm. So this project will minimize the flow of water coming out of that basin, slow it down, and make it more manageable for this undercrossing that goes at Almshouse Road, under Almshouse Road. So this will definitely not only mitigate safety and dangerous conditions during heavy rain events, however, it will also meet our MS4 requirements, which you've referred to as your municipal separate stormwater system. Both these basins meet sediment and phosphate reduction requirements that the state DEP, as well as the EPA, the federal level EPA, requires of us for sediment reduction. So these projects will definitely be win-win. Also, we've talked for many years about the Buck Road Bridgescape, which the utility work is underway now. That work is scheduled now to continue, should be completed by January of 2026, in next month or so. So that'll be the utility work. The design work for the bridge and all the sidewalk improvements that were identified in the Holland Master Plan many years ago are currently under design at the state level. And that project is fully funded by the state as well. So that's looking to be a 27, 28, most likely 28 construction. Same with the Second Street Pike and Bustleton Pikes roundabout. Both of those are going through the federal and state design requirements as we speak. So they move slower than we do. So we'll be moving. That'll be a project moving forward to calm down the road. No pun intended. I'll pass it back to Mr. Pellegrino.
Right. This graph shows our budgeted versus actual expenditures for the last 10 years. And I'm only showing you this to point out how well our departments do at managing their budgets. You can see those bar graphs are very close. We don't see any significant variations. The tolerances between budget and actual expenses are 2% or less, one way or the other. I think that's a testament to how well our department directors manage their budget. And we have the best of the best in this organization. So, a little bit about real estate taxes. We have no staffing or service cuts in the proposed budget. We do have a tax increase of 2.75 mils. This is something that, as you know, we had laid out for you as the board last year and the year before to fund our new fire services and certainly other services as well, our police. What this means is that a median home assessed at $40,000 will be paying about $1,400 a year in real estate taxes to the township. That's a $110 per year increase. We put together this monthly township services invoice just to show you how the money is allocated. And you can see there that it's hard to read, but the general fund is about $88. Fire and EMS is about $22, so forth. It's $117 a month for everything you get from this municipality. That's our open spaces, our parks, our library, our country club, which actually doesn't use tax dollars to fund its operation. Public works services, police services, fire services, EMS services, and road maintenance. So just to point out and show you how that compares to the total township taxes that residents pay. About 70% of it goes to the school district. The county is another 13%, and we are at 17% of the total bill. So for every $100 that's paid in taxes in the community, the township gets $17 of that. This is a quote from Teddy Roosevelt that I thought was interesting. Nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. And I wanted to share this quote with you because we just gave you a lot of information about our township and our budget. But more importantly, you need to know that the employees who work here care about what they do. And that's much more important than what we know. They care every day when they come to work. They are proud of what they do. They like working here. They deliver exceptional service. And I couldn't ask for a better team of people to work with. So I wanted to end with this. And I just told you something you already know, but for the public's benefit, we have the best team anywhere. And now we are ready for questions. Before you ask any questions, I just want to tell you the process. So state law requires the board to adopt a preliminary budget. Once you adopt that preliminary budget, if you choose to do so tonight, it will be advertised that it's available for public inspection. We're required to advertise that in the local newspaper. It will be available for public inspection and public comment for 20 days. It must be available for 20 days, after which time you are free to adopt it as a final budget. Before you adopt the final budget, you may change the budget by not more than 10% either way, or 25% in any individual line item. Individual line items would be the total police department budget, or the total planning and zoning budget, or the total public works budget. We have hundreds of line items in the budget, but what the state law talks about is those larger groupings. So I just wanted to lay that process out. Our next meeting is scheduled for December 10. If you approve this budget tonight, we will schedule it for final adoption on that date. So now, does anyone have any questions?
I'll start right with Barry, and then we'll just go right down if anybody
Yeah,
has any
sure.
questions.
Could you go back to I think it's the second slide, Bob, you had up there?
This one? This one?
No, the second slide.
Oh, all the way back?
Yeah, all the way back in the beginning.
You probably want this one or the next one? This one?
That one there.
Okay.
Yeah, so obviously this is for the benefit of the residents. I'm just trying to understand how this all adds up. At the end of the day, we are actually increasing the township tax by 8.5% across the board. So our residents are going to have 8.5% tax increase across the board. If I look at the tax millage funds, tax levies by fund, I have the various funds like the general fund, fire protection, refuge, and everything else. The only fund that's actually increasing in the budget that I have is a fire fund. It's going from 6.5, 6.5, up to 9.25, and that's in the book. So that's an increase in millage of 2.75. Everything else is staying the same, so there's no increase in general, rec, ambulance, anything else. And that represents a 42% increase in the fire fund. So I'm trying to...
That's correct.
Yeah, so I'm trying to understand how I have the Schedule A that has the tax levies by fund, and the fire fund's going up by 42%, which is having an overall impact in the township of 8.5%, and how that is represented here, because it says fire protection is only up 8%.
Well, I think you can't compare the percentage increase in millage to the percentage increase in the cost of the department, number one. Secondly, you should know, all of you should know, that the existing millage that we levy for fire services is insufficient to fund that operation. And this year, for example, we've transferred a little over $2.8 million from our general fund, which is coming out of our reserve. So we are draining our fund reserve to fund that service. So the millage increase is going to help us reduce that reserve drain. In 2026, the transfer from the general fund goes from 2.825 million, I believe, to 700,000. So that's really where the increase is helping. It just so happens that I'm proposing to put the millage where I think it belongs in the fire fund to fund that service. One other point I'll make is that we are allowed by law to levy up to 10 mills for fire service and 5 mills for EMS services. We would be at 9.25 mills next year if you approve this budget. If we levied 10 mills, that would generate, at $590,000 a mill, it would generate $5.9 million. Our fire costs, service costs next year are $6.8 million. So even at 10 mills, it's insufficient to fund the cost of that department, which is half the cost of the police department.
I guess I'm all supportive of the fire department and Adam and everything else, but if I look back to like 2019, 2020, it was only 1 millage rate for the fire fund.
Correct.
And I know we've gone to more of a full staff, but it's actually increased 780% in the last 6 years just for the fire fund. And I looked at other townships, and other townships are, millage rates at 2 to 3 mills, where ours is, increasing from 6.5 to 9.25. And I just want something, I'm support the fire fund, but how can we explain this to our residents, that it's increased, almost 800% in the last 6 years?
Our residents have 24/7 fire protection. If you're in a community that's levying 3 mills, you are not funding 24/7 fire protection.
So, but can we do something, I just want to have it now, this is for the benefit of the residents, can we look at other townships in Bucks County or other townships in the state and look at the coverage that they have and protection and compare it to our township? Because, it's a big number. It's 800,000, 800%. And, I look at other towns, whether it be Newtown, or whether Doylestown, Warminster, they're not nearly that. And I don't think our fires are any, significantly worse than theirs.
Again, those communities that you mentioned do not have 24/7 fire protection. If this board was willing to live with longer response times, we could cut that number in half.
Could we do some analysis and compare it to other townships, what the response times? It's hard for me to understand response times. All I'm doing is just from a taxpayer's perspective.
We talked about this last Thursday at the budget
Sure, yeah.
workshop. You had asked us to do that analysis. We are in the process of doing
Sure.
it. We've reached out to other communities that have full-time or almost full-time fire service. We're getting those numbers, but I didn't have anything ready for tonight.
Yeah, and once again, I'm not questioning it. I just want to be able to explain to our residents why we're increased our budget, 800% in the last 6 years, and be able to explain to them, Adam. It's people say, why are you guys paying so much here when the other towns around us are not paying that? And it comes to a dollar standpoint, and the whole budget.
6 years ago, we didn't have full-time fire service.
No, I know it's important to have full-time fire service, but it sounds like all these other townships are surviving with, a lot less money being spent on this. And I'm not sure, I don't hear any issues of fires raging in Warminster or Southampton or anything else. And just something we can explain, you don't have to do at this meeting.
Yep, I will.
But just something to explain, we can explain.
We're doing that survey now, as
Sure.
you asked for last week, and I'll have that information to you in a week or two.
Sure.
One
And
thing,
just like-
let me just add one thing that I think is important for you to know, Barry, is that the townships that you're mentioning are not the size of Northampton Township. We have to staff 2 stations in Northampton Township. Most of them only have to staff 1. They're considerably smaller with a lot less population.
Yeah, that's true.
So our cost is significantly more based on the size of our township in order to be able to reach all the different areas. If we only had to staff one station, you're absolutely right, our costs would be. So you have to incrementally grow our costs in order to cover 27 square miles. That's number one. Number two is, Bob is right in that none of those other departments have 24/7 service, and I can tell you the departments that you specifically mentioned, they are in pain. They do not have enough volunteers. They're not getting their trucks out, and they are on the path, the same path that we are. Newtown is very close to going to 24/7. Their coverage at night is critically low. Warminster, I don't know exactly where they are. I think you mentioned Warminster.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit different than those other departments based on our size and based on our coverage, but I think what you would find is that the costs overall for 24/7 coverage would be in line. I think you'll see that.
Sure. And to be honest, you pick other towns, pick Ben Salem, Middletown, any towns that are comparable. I just want a simple way to explain to our residents why our taxes overall are going up by 8.5%, why they've increased 700, 800% over the last 6 years. And I'm not challenging, I just want to be able to explain it to people. And that was a lot of questions we got from our residents. Why is it going up so much? And apples to apples comparison, and Adam, if you could do that, it'd be perfect. Pick other townships in the state that are comparable, that we can compare this to.
Well, I think it's best to focus on communities in the region.
Sure.
Rather than across the state. All the major cities in Pennsylvania have full-time fire service. All the third-class cities, you name them, Easton, Bethlehem, Harrisburg, York, they all have full-time fire service. The more rural areas do not. They are still relying on volunteers. I think you would find if you surveyed them that they don't have the response time we do. But communities in the Philadelphia region, for example, are heading in the direction of full-time fire service because they don't have the volunteers anymore.
Sure. So if we could find those cities, townships that are
Yeah,
comparable with Northampton, and then let's find on a comparable basis how we can compare the cost that they're paying versus what we're paying. That's all I'm saying.
Some of the towns that we're reaching out to, well, Newtown's an easy comparison because they're next door. They're not full-time. They're 12/7. Their budget next year is $4.1 million. It's a little over that, with one station. That's an easy comparison. Upper Marion is another one. Upper Providence in Montgomery County, they have 24/7. Upper Darby has 24/7. We're reaching out to those communities in the Philadelphia metropolitan area that have 24/7 coverage and obtaining their budget information. We'll do a per capita analysis, for example, to show the cost of our service versus the cost of what their services are.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just
I
comparing.
think you're going to find that our costs are very much in line with everybody else.
Sure. I mean, I did look at some, like, for example, Middletown is 1.9 millage. Doylestown, 1.7.
They don't have 24/7
Okay,
coverage.
I mean, but is there,
They actually only have one truck during the week. They're what we were 15 years ago.
Yeah, I think they have 6 paid firefighters.
and I guess I would question you, Adam, how is the fire service in that town compared to our town? I mean, is there a higher incident of fires because they don't have it, or? Is there-
I can tell you that they are struggling with volunteers just like we were.
Sure.
Yeah. And the thing about, for fire calls is you have to answer every call. However the call comes in, Bob, you kind of said it nicely when you were looking at the police budget. You talked about every call, all those calls, whether it's a quick, they stop in, or a call that takes a long time. It's the same for the fire service, if you call and you smell something burning in your house, whether your house is actually on fire or it turns out it was the toaster, you still need the same response.
Sure, okay.
So there's really, it's not the severity of the calls, it's the number of calls, and it's based on the population. So we have over 40,000 people, we're going to have 120 calls a month. That's just
I think
what
what
it is.
our residents are paying for is readiness
Yeah.
for response.
So maybe if by,
ready to respond if necessary, and the stats show that there's about 120 calls a month for various, maybe not house fires, but other calls. We do advanced life support, response to traffic accidents and injuries, and a lot of falls, particularly seniors in this
Sure.
community who have breathing issues or heart attacks or strokes or whatever. And our fire department is usually first on scene.
I think, you know, what we're doing here at the board level is very much in line with what Bob had laid out for us in the 5-year plan a few years back and how this was going to play out. And probably the most important metric that I've been watching is, and Bob had told us, that the way this lays out is most of the time the fire service will be about 50% of what the police service is, and we're pretty much staying on that track. That seems to be where we are. So yeah, I mean, the costs have gone up tremendously, but the service has gone up tremendously too. It goes together, and it is a pay for readiness. It's a matter of when you call, is somebody going to be there in 5 minutes, or are they going to be in there in 12 minutes? This board 5 years ago said 5 minutes. We don't want people waiting 12 minutes for an ambulance or a fire truck, and that is a long time, and that's really where we were. Our average response time showed that pretty clearly.
so if we could buy, prior to the final budget being approved,
We'll have it.
I'm simply asking, just some analysis
We'll have it by then.
for the benefit of the residents. A lot of residents have asked me, I'm sure they asked a lot of people on this board, you know, why is it going up so much? And a lot of people are going to say, well, geez, you know, the taxes of the township are going up by 8.5%. You know, why? They want to understand that. We need to be able to justify it to them. That's all I'm saying. And I'm not being critical of the fire services, say, support it 100%. I just need to be able to explain it to our residents what we're doing and why we're doing it.
We'll definitely have something.
Okay, that's
actually
perfect. That's
before
good.
then. Before then, I'll have something.
Okay, no, that'd be good.
We're gathering that data. There's a bit, everybody's doing their budget, so other township managers are a little slow to respond to my requests for information.
Sure.
We're
Well, we should put together a couple of charts, that way we can share with the residents, we could put it on our website, explain to people, you know, why the numbers are the numbers.
Anything else, Bear?
No, that's it.
Bob?
So no one has asked me that question. I don't think anybody has been asked on this board a question about a tax increase that wasn't publicized until this evening. But regardless, this is now my 5th budget meeting. I've sat on this board for 4 years, and I came to the budget meeting as a supervisor-elect in the year in which I was elected. And my question is, has something changed about the plan that was implemented before I was a board member to go to full-time 24/7 fire service, or did I miss something?
No, it was, we laid out for you in the past what it was going to take to pay for the service and the tax increases that were necessary.
Has something changed?
And if my memory serves me correctly, at the time we projected it was going to cost about $400 more a year for the service.
Would you mind, and I'm sorry, because I know you went backwards quite a ways.
Go ahead.
Could you go forward in the slide presentation, please, to that receipt that you created that I think maybe was a little too small for you, Mr. Pellegrino,
It
at the
was a
end
little
of the
too
day?
small for me to
I saw you straining there, but I liked the concept of it.
Yeah. Maybe Bill can read it.
Okay, I can see. So, and I understand this is purely an average, but the average to have 24/7 service and the 5-minute response times is $22.49 a month?
A month, right?
Okay. If there are any township residents who have issue with that and are not willing to pay that amount of money for that level of response time, I encourage you to contact me immediately. Please, I'll be more than happy to speak with you. And beyond that, I bet among the people who are thrilled with the service they're getting are the family of that child who nearly drowned over the summer. And we had a large presentation, all of us, right there in the middle of this room to celebrate the service that we promised to provide before I was on this board and for the entirety of the time that I'm on this board. And it will stay that way for the time I'm on this board. I don't know where this is coming from. It's ridiculous.
Well, I would suggest, Bob, during this time period, the next couple of weeks, once you talk to the residents,
I do.
ask them about the cost, but ask them about the tax increase. Ask them if they know if the tax increase is going up by 8.5%. Because after this meeting, people are going to realize taxes are going up by 8.5%.
You
So talk to the residents, that's all I'm saying.
You said they were already complaining about the tax increase they couldn't have known about. Which one is
In
it?
the past, they've been complaining about the tax increases in the past, and now we're going to come out again in, a lower interest rate environment, saying we're going to increase overall everything by 8.5%.
History didn't start last week. We all knew this. This has been the plan for years. It's very convenient that it's suddenly at issue.
I'm just listening to residents. Talk to your residents.
Oh, I do.
Okay, do it. Go for it.
Kim?
I'm going to change the subject. First of all, I want to say that with Park and Rec and the Senior Center going under the one umbrella of Parks and Rec, I have to say I've never seen such great enthusiasm, residents interacting, such busyness at all our Parks and Rec and Senior Center. And I just want to say that that was an excellent idea of bringing the two departments together. They're doing excellent work. I think that library, country club, public works, police, EMS, and fire, everybody has been doing a wonderful job. No problems there at all. All our township employees have been wonderful. I want to say that Ironworks Creek Bridge looks so much better than I ever thought it would look. It looks great. And I did want to talk a little bit about that curb extension at Ivy Green. We had so many people I had so many people talk to me, told me we're upset about, because we have mainly a senior population in that area. I just want to tell our residents, we listened, we took care of it. It took a while, but we got it done. Also, in Municipal Park are pickleball courts. People really wanted pickleball courts. We have heard for years for pickleball courts, and I just want to say, we listened and we gave it to you. So I think that's all. Everything is going great. I want to thank Bob, Bill, Julie. You guys have done a great job on the budget. I know a tax increase is nobody wants a tax increase. But I always say this, you can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. So unfortunately, that's the way I have to look at it. But I think everybody else has been doing a good job. Okay.
Well, I certainly agree with Mr. Salzer. He and I came on together, and I remember the plan to beef up the fire department and have them township employees, and we talked about it for a long time. And I think we are forerunners for the state, thanks to Adam and this board and the administration, because everyone has this problem, and we have fixed it. We're Northampton, this is Northampton Township. We're not in Warminster, we're not in Newtown, we're not in Doylestown. This is Northampton, and I think our residents expect this kind of care, that they need this. We're not, we expect good care, urgent care, and we're getting it. And I don't think it's that much of a tax hike for anyone to complain. No one, there's other things to beef about, but not taxes, because it's worth it living here in Northampton. Thank you.
Thanks. The only thing I'll just add on to just the overall budget, our primary job, we have all said it, everybody on this board, everybody sitting up here has said it, and I'll repeat it, is the health, safety, and welfare of our residents. That's our primary objective. We always look at that. We always think really hard about how what we do affects their health, safety, and welfare. And clearly, in this case with the fire service, I think we're perfectly in line with the plan that we had laid out 5 years ago. If people are asking questions, I think that's fine. We should answer their questions. There's
all
no
I'm saying.
reason to not get
Just
back to them. I think nobody at this table should be surprised at anything that we've seen. It's all been very much out front. It's all been in many meetings. It's a very well thought out plan. Other communities are going to be right along with us. I saw today Warwick is hiring firefighters. They advertise for another one. It's happening all around us. And soon, in a few years, most of the communities around us will be just like us. They'll have 24/7 protection. It's a national crisis. It's not getting better. It's only getting worse. And I think really that's a big part of what I would say to a resident if they asked me, why is this cost growing? And I would specifically call out that the volunteerism is going down quickly everywhere, including in Northampton. And when you start a department the way we did in Northampton, everybody starts at the lowest level of pay grade, and they're all going to work through that pay grade, and we anticipated that. And I think that's what you're seeing. It's mostly labor rates. We still manage the operations in the fire department very much the same as we did 5 years ago, with this very similar amount of money in the operations portion, ex-labor. Labor is really where the cost of running the departments are. I think you'll find the same in the police. I don't know what the overall, in emergency services in general, EMS as well, what was the delta for police year over year?
10.25%.
Yeah, so the police went up 10% from last year to this year. Fire went up, what was it, 8%. And in the emergency services, that's what you're going to get as pay grades continue to climb. So I don't think it's a surprise, but if people are asking, we should answer. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, but I would certainly hope that nobody sitting up here is surprised at what they're seeing here, because this is the plan that we laid out, which what we all agreed to, and there is no question in my mind that the residents of Northampton have benefited from this. Bob talked about a little boy who we pulled out of a pool. There's a man in Holland who had a heart attack, a witnessed heart attack. The fire truck was there in 2 minutes, shocked him, and he's walking around today. There's a house off of Hatboro Road. They woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning, and the whole outside of their house was on fire. And the firemen from Richboro got there, and in 6 minutes put that fire out. Had that been a volunteer response, it would have probably been another 6 or 8 minutes. The fire probably would have destroyed the home. And I have many, many stories like that to tell. I don't think we need to do that. I think everybody knows the benefit of a quick response. And it's just part of the service. It's part of being ready. Part of that payment is the cost to be ready. And we're ready, and same for EMS. It's the same example for EMS. Having an ambulance in Holland was probably one of the best quality of life enhancements we could have done for the people that live in Holland. They have a paramedic unit there half the time, 8 hours, 12 hours a day. It's phenomenal, and it's the busiest hours. And they have many, many lives saved, so.
Yeah. I think it's very important. Once again, I'm not trying to criticize it, but people are asking, over the last 6 years, it's gone up almost 800%.
Yeah, and I'm
People
just-
support the concept, but, are we doing it in a smart way? Are we being cost effective? Are we being smart about the money?
I believe you'll find that we're very much in line with what other communities do. And what I was just trying to explain is how I would explain it if somebody were to ask me. That's what I would say.
But 8 years ago, we never said it's going to go up 800%. That's my point.
No, I think.
I never knew it would go up 800%. It's a big number.
I think if you look back at what the projections were based on salaries and cost, I think we're very much in line with where we were then.
So if we could just demonstrate that at the next meeting, that would be helpful.
I don't know what that percentage is, but we laid out the necessary tax increases that would be required years ago to fund that service. And we are still on track with that plan. Next year, it would be less than half of what it is for 2026 and 2027, and then it will level off.
And I believe, Bob, if I may interrupt, we said around 2027 is when it would level off.
That's
We had
when it's
all
going to
known that,
level.
and we all
That's when it levels
we had all agreed
off.
to that. I think that was
That's when
in
it
the plan.
levels off, and then beyond that, and I've advocated this for years, we should have very small increases every year to keep up with the costs increases that we have. We have labor cost increases, cost of goods and services, some modest increase. I hate to say like the school district does, but something to fund it. I don't like recommending tax increases at all, but I will tell you that in the early part of my career here, we had an increase, and then we went for 4 years without one, and then we had another increase, and we went for 4 years without one. And I'm coming up on 19 years as your township manager, and for a lot of those years, we were not maintaining our infrastructure, and we certainly didn't have the size of the operation that we do now. With the addition of the fire department employees and additional police officers that allow us to increase the minimum staffing and adding the K-9 units, all of that comes with a cost, but it also comes with additional, I think, really excellent service for the residents.
And one thing I feel pretty good about is our roads program. I think we're finally catching up. I mean, that's a really good example of years and years of neglect, of not doing roads, doing 2 miles a year, 3 miles a year. We have to do 10 miles of road a year at 183 miles of road, and an average road lasts 20 years. Some last more, some last less, but just on average. And if you don't, our roads really suffered, our roads in our township. And I think in the past 4 or 5 years, doing 10 miles a year, we're catching up. I think we're hearing less complaints about the roads. Still probably the #1 complaint, but still less. And I think we're on mark. I would say in another 5 or 6 years, we'll probably have gotten to most of the worst of the roads.
And I would say we are doing more preventative maintenance on our roads by using different products that extend the life of roads at less cost. So we're really trying to stretch the dollars that we have.
If there's no more questions, I'll ask for a motion. Maybe, Bob?
Yes, as Mr. Pellegrino stated, Northampton being a second-class township, we must, if adopted, advertise for availability and public inspection the proposed budget for a period of 20 days. If I may make a motion?
Please.
I move to adopt the 2026 preliminary budget and advertise its availability for public inspection for a period of not less than 20 days as required by the second-class township code.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
I think we had discussion, but I'll ask, is there any more discussion? Barry?
No, as long as we just so everybody knows, by the next meeting, before we do the final vote, like, just have answers for our residents. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah,
Bob?
Nothing further.
Okay, that's it.
that's it.
Okay.
All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Thank you very much, guys, all the hard work.
Yep.
I'll give you a second to come back up. And I'll start out with reports. Kim?
Yes, Parks and Rec. The Parks and Rec Department successfully hosted the revamped Halloween happening on October 24th. The new format was well received by residents. The winter brochure will be delivered to residents by month's end. It features new youth programs and provide registration details for the 2026-2027 preschool year and the 2026 summer camps. Registration opens in early January. The first annual Winterfest will be held December 5th. Featuring tree and menorah lighting, Santa and Mrs. Claus, horse and carriage rides, live music, and an expanded outdoor holiday marketplace in a heated tent to accommodate more vendors. And if anybody here is on social media at all, please check out Northampton Township Parks and Rec. You'll see the cutest little video that Kristen Fullerton did It is hysterical. It's so cute, and it's just advertising our event. So please, if you get a chance, look at that video. And Marissa made it. She did a wonderful job. So please check that out, and please come to the Winterfest. The Senior Center. The Senior Center Annual Holiday Luncheon will be held on Wednesday, December 3rd at the Northampton Valley Country Club, kicking off the holiday season, and come celebrate the spirit of friendship. There will be music, dancing, prizes, and a delicious lunch. Tickets are $35. Call the center for more information. Tickets for the December 10th American Music Theater Holiday Show and Shady Maple Luncheon are sold out. A wait list is available. Stop by the center or call for more information. $130 for members and $140 for non-members. And I do want to wish everybody a happy and safe Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Paula?
Okay, thank you. I just want to say we have a great township, we have great programs, and I'll speak about the library. The library is moving and shaking and changing. Effective January 4 of next year, 2026, the library's Sunday hours will change to 12 noon to 4 p.m., just like it is on Friday and Saturday closing times. Okay, it actively engages our library, our local teens. They serve as volunteers for the community from Council Rock School. There's 15 students from Sloan School that volunteer every week, and the teen volunteers totaled in 2024 1,700, and we're almost there this year, 2025. 5 of the 8 25 National Merit Scholarship finalists are from Council Rock School District, and they are regular library volunteers. And the new website is up and running. It's freelibrarynt.org for the latest information. I think if you just look up the Northampton Library, you'll find the exact website. Okay, and the vets. I'm very proud of our vets and our vet commission, Veterans Commission. We had a successful Veterans Day event. It wasn't as well attended as previous years, but it was still good. We're upcoming. We have a wreath laying ceremony at Union Cemetery on December 6th. It's a Saturday. And we'll go through the pomp and circumstance. We always do. We have a singer, a guest speaker, and bagpiper and bugler, hopefully. And that's all I have to say about the veteran. But that's December 6th at 11 a.m. Thank you.
Thank you, Paula. Bob?
No reports this evening. Happy and safe Thanksgiving to everybody. Don't fry your turkeys near the house.
That's my report.
I always take that from you every year. Well, you should have spoken first.
Barry?
Well, I'm going to my kid's house for Thanksgiving, so I have to worry about who
All
cooks
right,
it.
don't fry the
That's
turkey
point.
in the house.
Planning and zoning is pretty quiet. There was no meeting in November for planning, a couple residential approvals in zoning. Things are coming out. There's a Bucks County Roses development. People may see some activity there on Buck Road. There's going to be a housing development there. Also, the Mill Race Inn, some activity started on that site. And then the other things coming before this board, which I mentioned, is going to be Russell Gardens. There's going to be a proposal for 18 single-family lots on New Road in Churchville. And then also on 20 Ford Road, there's also a 6-lot development over there. But we haven't seen the plans yet, but we'll be seeing those in the months to follow. That's all I have. And everybody have a nice Thanksgiving, and best to go to one of your family members' houses. You don't have to cook.
Thanks,
Or go out to dinner like Bob is.
I have a few things tonight. I got a message from Chief Lecomte at the police department, and he said our food drive was very successful. The only time we collected more food was when we did the special drive for the township's 300th anniversary. The Thanksgiving food drive this year collected 4,515 pounds of food and $3,515 worth of donations. All the donations were converted to giant gift cards, and the proceeds were delivered to the Jesus Focus Ministry Food Pantry in Southampton. He wanted to thank all the businesses and residents that made the food drive a big success. And I would just add to that, congratulations to the police department and everybody that worked with them on a really great food drive. I'm sure we all agree no one should go hungry. And that's just a really good project that they do. From the fire department, of course, October, the report is Fire Prevention Month. Although they do Fire Prevention Week, it's really the whole month. The fire department had their open house. It was quite successful. Probably going to see how we can change it up every year just to make it a little bit more interesting so it's not repetitive. And because it's October and Fire Prevention Month, the fire department did their usual community engagement. We try very hard in the fire department to get out into the community. We did the Halloween candy run. During Halloween, the fire trucks go and they'll stage at a corner somewhere in the neighborhood and give out candy to the kids as they're walking by, let them get on the truck. The schools have always invited us, the fire department, to trunk or treat. For years, we've been going to do the trunk or treats, same kind of thing. And we're going to probably continue to do that. October is a great month to engage with our community. Saturday with Santa is going to be December 13th from 10 to 2. It's a free event hosted at the Richboro Fire Station. Santa Claus will be there. Come by. There's lots of activities for the community. It was very well attended last year, and it's a good way to come and meet your firefighter EMTs, Santa, and there's usually a Grinch sighting here and there. And finally, I'd just like to keep reminding our residents that we do have a free smoke detector assistance program. If you or someone you know is not really good on ladders, can't really check their smoke detectors on their own, all they need to do is call the fire department business number, make an appointment. We'll come to your house. We'll check your smoke detectors. If you need new ones, we'll help you get the ones you need, and we'll put them back up for you. Or if you just need a battery changed, we'll do that for you as well. We really want to try to prevent injuries, and there's a lot of folks that really probably should not be on ladders anymore, and we're happy to come help. That's all I have for the night. Manager's report.
Just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Bob. Assistant manager.
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Thank you. Joe, solicitor.
No report, but just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you. We had nothing for the engineers tonight. Is there any public comment? I could flip a coin and pick one of you, I suppose. All right, Ed, you're up first. You were at the top of the list.
It's funny you should mention flipping the coin. Good evening, Ed Mayer, Churchville. First, I'd like to start at the same place that the chairman started tonight and congratulate Barry Moore on his reelection and Joe Lombardo, my colleague in the gallery, on his election. I have to tell you that being at all 18 polls and then some, I ran into one woman who stood out particularly, was, I would say, maybe uncharacteristically friendly towards me. And I didn't know who she was, but after speaking to her, I came to the realization that this lovely woman who was speaking to me, I think at Rolling Hills, was Janice Lombardo, a very lovely woman, and so it's no surprise to me that Joe ended up where he did because he's got a good woman behind him. The next thing I want to mention real quick is I think everyone knows what the Eagles generally do on 4th down. It could be 4th and 1, sometimes 4th and 2. But I think generally Eagles Nation knows what they do on 4th down. And I think the entire nation knows what they do on 4th down, which is the tush push, of course. And in Bob's words last year, he said that the budget, the preliminary budget, is the single most important policy document adopted by the board each year. Think about that for a minute. The single most important policy document that's adopted by the board each year. So I'm glad to have sat through the dialogue about the budget, about the preliminary budget, and hear the different viewpoints and vantage points, because that's healthy debate is necessary in our world. And it was respectful for the most part. It was very respectful, and I think everybody learned a little bit something that they may not have known about other people. So I think that was a well worth everybody's time to listen to that discussion. And I think that policy document, again this year now, is in fact that testament to the health, safety, and welfare of the community. As the chairman has mentioned, other people have mentioned the health, safety, and welfare of the community. I think that is absolutely the bottom line. Now you're wondering, well, what the heck is the guy talking about? The tush-push, Janice Lombardo, and the most important policy document. How does any of this connect? The tush-push works because they have grit. That's what makes the tush-push work. They have more grit on the offense when they run the tush-push than the defenders have. So that's what makes it successful. It's the Eagles' grit. And they do it on 4th and 1 because they're right there. They're just right there. They're only a yard away from an important first down. And I think that was kind of the backdrop of the discussion tonight. It wasn't, no one would think anything other than, I've only heard superlatives at the least when it comes to the fire chief, the fire department, the organization, the people in the organization, everything about it. Nothing but superlatives. But that wasn't what tonight's discussion was really about. To me, it was about the tush-push. It was about, you had a 2.75 mil increase total for the budget. So we were a yard shy of getting to our residents for the first time in a while, a little bit of a relief to be able to say we have no tax increase this year. We're going from 25 to 26 with no tax increase, and we only had to come up with 2.75 mils to do it. And I think, in the corporate world, by the way, I'm sure that most of you may, or well, maybe you don't know. In the corporate world, I know Barry knows. You get that close, your CFO or the treasurer, they're going to come back to you and say, go find that money, find it in a different part of the budget, wherever you have to find it, and get this thing to zero out. So I think that was really my takeaway. Can we get to the point where we have a preliminary budget that offers our residents, for the first time in a while, no tax increase, because we got that close. So anyway, it was a very good discussion. I was my honor to be listen to that discussion. I learned a lot, and I will end with saying that I don't know what I'm going to do without my gallery mate at future meetings. I'll be sitting in the gallery by myself, but I'll still be here. Thank you. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Ed. Joe?
Joe Lombardo from Holland. I want to thank you all for the kind words and the congratulations, and I want to thank Ed for recognizing my wife. She definitely and truly is my best asset. I will agree with that. Might be better having her on the board than me, I don't know, but she really is a gift. So I want to thank you also. I want to thank the board. I want to thank Bob and Bill, because I did hear from residents about whatever we call it. I mean, they said the Blue Park. I called it Municipal Park, and then they said it's some other park. So it's 3 different names, but whether it's the Blue Park or Municipal Park, I want to thank you, because I was told about the nice thing that they did about getting the basketball. I know it's not the pickleball courts, but the remaining 2 basketball courts, the standards, the basket standards got wrapped. So there's been wrapping around that, or padding around that, and that is very good, and they were very happy to hear that they mentioned it, and then something happened. So there's a good thing that, once again, the residents and the board working together, I think that's very good. Obviously, I also sat here and listened to the budget, which was, I think, excellent as far as for me to learn. It made me think of something, though, to be honest with you. It made me think of my car insurance. I haven't had an accident for 5, 6, 7 years, even before that. But at least for the 5 years, I haven't had an accident. Every year, my car insurance goes up. And I call them, and I say, hey, my car's a year older. It got, 10, 20,000 more miles on it. My insurance goes up. Shouldn't it be going down? But it went up. So they tell me all the reasons why it went up. They don't make a whole lot of sense, but it goes up, and I still have to pay that because why? If anything, God forbid, happens to my wife, my best asset, or to me, or anybody else driving my car, I want to make sure they're covered. And I think that is one of the things I took from this budget meeting, that it's so important to have that coverage from the fire, from EMS, from police. That is so, so important. And I just think every resident, when they think about their own situation, would understand that. Being in business, I know it's great to be the best. And I think Northampton is the best township. I've been involved in a lot of other townships from my activities, which I'm not going to go into that, but I think Northampton Township is the best township. And when you're the best, that means you're usually the leader. When you're the leader, other people have to catch up. For years in my business, I had to fight the leader. I'm sure most of you heard a company called GE Capital, big behemoth company. Had to fight them every day of my life for years. Very difficult. They were the leader. We had to catch up. We had to open up a West Coast department. And, to do that, when you start from zero and you have to open up a whole West Coast department, meaning getting, just like having to do with a new fire department, having to get a staff, having to find an office, having to do all that, we had to go from a zero situation, we never had any expenditures, to spending all this money to compete with GE on the West Coast. A lot of extra travel. I was on junkets back and forth every 3 weeks. Didn't have to do that years 2 before, 5 years before. Had to do it now. Our expenses went from 100% over that time, not 700%, went up to 1,000% because you started zero. So you got to keep that in mind. But they will catch up. The other townships will have to catch up. We are the best. I want to keep Northampton the best because that is so, so important. Okay? So I want to thank you all again for all the kind words, and I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Thank you. Oh, and by the way, one more thing. It is so important from my background. I am so happy that this township is a healthy and financially stable township. That is so, so important when you need to go for something, when you need to go for loans. I'm sure all of you have loans in your own personal life. Well, if you go for a mortgage, and if your credit score is like 620 or below, if anybody knows what 620 is, that's subprime. If it's below, you have a difficult time getting a mortgage. You have a difficult time finding somebody who wants to lend you any money. So being financially solvent, financially stable, and financially secure, I think, is a tremendous thing for this township, and it's important because we're going to have to keep moving forward, and we're going to have to keep moving forward on a financial stable basis. So once again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Joe. With no other business, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. A safe one, and the meeting is adjourned.